doke. Is this working? Alright, looks like it is working. Perfect. So what is OBS grabbing? Cool. It's grabbing the right thing. That's what we want. Oi oi Zach. Oi oi Malloy. Oh, I've not got my camera on. Let's turn my camera on. Whee! Oh, get the hair sorted out a little bit. I've got my new very fancy Zach desk microphone. Oh god, I moved it. And we're going to be going over industry. He says with confidence. Yes, we are going to be going over industry. I was just quickly looking at what we should be, just trying to find some basic things that we can talk about and help with. Seems like it's picking up my PC fans. Alright, let's turn it down. How about now? Is that any better? I'm seeing it activate when I talk, but not when I'm not. It's picking up cars from outside, I think. Maybe we close the window. Ooh. Who would have thought that being Inquisition leader would be so dashingly handsome? It's bloody haunting. Ignore that, man. He's a terrible person. But thank you. Yeah, I've just got too much of a girthy desk. That's all. That's the only reason we've not got the boom mic going. Also, the visuals are lagging loads. Maybe it's because I've got literally every account open. Let's close some accounts. We don't need these. In fact, do we need all of these? No, we just need one. So, what I was doing is I was very quickly having a glance at the ammo situation in MJ, which I think should be fine. And to be honest, I think everything on this list is Tech 2, so I don't really want to care too much about it. Faction warfare, sick. Look at that. I didn't even know that was there. Let's look at this. Doctrine fits. Oh, I mean, everything's struggling today. It's bad. What can we make? We could make this. There's only 6, and it's overpriced. This is what we're going to look at. 125mm Gatling cannons. That's for later though. Pretty sure I can make this. Pretty sure they're a makeable item. This was the one. Industry. Yes, success. Okay. So we are going to be covering the very, very basics of industry. The last time I did this, it took me about an hour just to talk about all the parts of industry. So we'll probably just get straight into it. I did load up a few of the websites that can help you with this. So the first one I found, I think this is probably the best presented because obviously it's by a AAA game company, so they probably should do well on the presentation. But this is the CCP Games Academy website. Actually not that bad. And it kind of covers some basics. So it teaches you, weirdly, for some reason, not weirdly, because they're wanting you to do things. It teaches you about what to do first, and then afterwards it kind of talks about what actually is involved. So I don't know if I completely agree with that. It's like, go and be a hauler, and it doesn't really explain about the whole industry. That's not really industry. That could be anything. You could be a hauler who's just moving loot that you've killed off someone to market to sell. That's not industry. That's just you getting some loot. Anyway, But saying that, you know, it does cover the basic areas. So we've got mining, which is where things come from, essentially. Salvaging is the other place things come from. So you're either mining asteroids, gas, ice, or you are salvaging ships for salvage components. And then finally you can do data sites, and you'll get the research components for making Tech 2 things from data sites. And then you manufacture things, haul them to market. And there's a few steps in between. So reactions are for Tech 2 things. Reactions are also involved in Tech 3 production, but they're called like a different, it's like a different version of reactions. It's not quite the same thing, but basically the same, just with different inputs and a lot more effort, basically. And then capital ship construction at the moment, apart from the Tech 3 stuff, it uses all of these other things. So it uses gas. There'll be a little bit of ice in there for the fuel blocks that you'll need for certain things. You'll need to do some reactions for the platings and things like that. And you'll also need to do some specific stuff with planetary interaction, which they don't talk about here at all. So whatever. Then you've got the Eve University Wikipedia, which is fine in a basic sense, and that's kind of what they're aiming for, is a very basic mechanics explanation, but I really don't like it, and I think it's not very good. And then you've got Kissmeter's daily industry like tip, which is a lot briefer. It's a lot more like, obviously Kissmeter's just written this out himself, so don't take it as the Bible, but it does give you a quick glance at industry. For example, you can see how complicated building a saber is. So this is the bit that would be building the Thrasher, which is really simple, which is the Tech 1 ship, and you need that for all the Tech 2 ships. And then this is all of the Tech 2 stuff. So you need some decryptors and data cores. You need the BPCs from a Thrasher to invent into the Saber blueprint with those things. And then you need to do these reactions, and you can see this is the moon ore. So you mine this ore, and then you react it. Well, you refine it into these things, and then you react these things together into these things, and then you make those using another industry process into this thing, and you add all of these things together into an industry process to make this saber. So that is why a Thrasher costs you $1 million ISK and a saber costs you 50 million ISK, because there's loads more things in a saber. It's a lot more complicated. And then finally, for the Hordelings in us, if you go to this link and you sign in with your Horde character, it will give you access to the Horde doctrine list and seeding. So you can go to market seeding, and you can have a look through all these tabs people have made, and you can see a list where it calculates the price in MJ. So it's just pulling data from MJ's ESI. So we can see Arabelle's rocket launcher 1. It's got 512 price in MJ. The price in Jita is 374, and then they actually do shipping price, which is about right. It's 400 M3 cost plus 1% collateral is what they do here. So the shipping cost is quite low for an Arabelle because this is a very small item. And then if you were to add 20% on top of that, which is a very good profit margin, you can see that this item is currently, you could import it, list it at this price, and it would be less than the current price. So this is an item you could import. We could also make it, because this is an item you can make. I've actually picked this one here, which is used in a lot of smaller ships, very, you know, our starter ships. It's a very cheap item, but currently it's it's 5 times the price that it is in Jita. So we're going to look at that and see if we can figure out, firstly, why that's higher. Secondly, whether we can make it to make a difference for MJ. As you can see, it's 399% overpriced, which 5,000 ISK is nothing. It's killing 1 frigate basically in PvE. So it's very, very easy to get 5,000 ISK, and 25,000. Actually, I think 25,000 is 1 frigate. But we'll have a look into it and we'll see. Also, the stockpile here is very low. So this is a stockpile of 6, and the request from the Alliance is to have 201 of these. For some reason, it's 201 and not 200, which, you know, that's cool. So this is my industry, well, one of my industry characters. This is Bob. Bob is trained into industry skills. That's not the industry tab. My headphone likes to turn itself off. can't hear me, is it just Winzimar who can't hear me, or are there other people who can't hear me as well? Just to check quickly, because the microphone is still activating on OBS, so audio working is intended. Cool. I believe the problem is on your side, Winzimar. Turn on your speakers. So this is my industry character. As you can see, he's got skills all over the place, but he's got quite a few resource processing skills, production skills, and planet management skills. So let's quickly talk about the basics of where stuff comes from. So the first thing that we made in Eve ever when the game first launched was Tech 1 items. And those are items which come from a Tech 1 blueprint. And we can see we've got some here, I think. What was I looking for? I was looking for the sigil. So this is a corporation hanger for blueprints, and it's quite clever how this works. So this is the hanger for the copies, and anyone in our corporation who has the access rights can pull from the copies, and then only one person can pull from the originals, but we've got it set up so that I can actually copy from the originals into the copies. So what I can do is I can use this blueprint, even though I can't move it, I can't take this anywhere. So it's, you know, it's not at risk of being stolen, because only the director can get that, only the CEO can get it. So that's a, you know, big hint for indie corporations or budding indie corporations. This is how you do it. You set up a hanger and you make sure one person can access it, and you put the blueprints there, and then you allow view access basically, and people can use them. There's some, I don't know the exact corporation, I'm not really into corporation stuff, but yeah. I'm going to pull a sigil blueprint, so I'm going to copy a sigil blueprint is the way we do it in our corporation, and I'm going to put it back into the ship's hanger, and I'm going to do the copy tab, and that's going to actually send 3 copies back, which is 30 sigils, which is quite a lot of sigils. That's going to send back into there, and I think the blueprint I've got is only 10 runs, so that's fine. I've added more to the process there. You can hear me, but you've So Finn, we've got solutions to the quiet stream. So how is this for a solution? The problem is we don't want the fans to get caught in the audio as well. So we're fiddling today. We're fiddling with a new microphone. Anyway, so I pulled that blueprint. The other blueprint I wanted is the blueprint for 125mm Gatling autocannons, and it's not going to be there. It's going to be in this one if it's anywhere. Got railguns. And look at that, we got 4 runs, 200 runs, that's what we want. We want a big run, 200 runs. And then again, we're going to go here, we're going to type in 125, there it is, use that one, and we'll make 2, because I don't really use my research slots. So again, we're going to add more back to our, oh, it could not be submitted. We can't do, oh, is it this that it wants? Sometimes it does this, it's a bit weird. Let's see if we can get it to work. Current skills, oh, it's my jobs. I've got too many jobs owned by me. Let's see. Oh, it's all these. These are fighters. These are Tech 1 blueprints. Fighters are tech, you can have Tech 1 fighters. So this is kind of one of the chunkier Tech 1 items you can make. But yeah, that's fighters. Let's use this blueprint again, do a copy, there we go. Does that mean that the sigil, and you can see that this job is owned by corporation. Yeah, I didn't do the sigil one, I need to do that again. Error. Once you put the job in, the blueprint will disappear until the job is completed, and then it will pop back into the originals tab. Right, so I've got some bits and bobs there. And let's try and talk. I want to just fly, I'm just going to fly these back to MJ while we have a chat. So this ship I'm in is a covert ops hauling ship. It's quite hard to kill, not impossible. Generally what I'll do is I'll have a look at local, and if local's all blue, I'm quite comfortable just to gate without doing anything special. But if I'm concerned at all, before I take the warp I can activate the interdiction nullifier, and I can activate the covert ops cloaking device. This button makes me go through bubbles. This button makes me unlockable until I land on the gate and then jump. So both of those together makes you very, very difficult to catch. Has the volume helped anymore, by the way? People who were saying it was quiet stream, Fim, etc. Has the volume gone up? It should have done. Should be a bit better now. So for a Tech 1 product, let's open up the industry tab here. We can see that this requires minerals. Now, you probably all know the answer to this already, but where do minerals come from? Minerals come from, this one comes from these ores here. This one in particular is a big money maker, gneiss, because it gives us lots of mexilon and lots of isogen and lots of pyrite, and those three things are a bit tricky to find, in particular in nullsec. Isogen is easy to find in lowsec, pyrite is easy to find in lowsec and highsec, mexilon is easy to find in nullsec in reality. It's just that the ore that drops it is not very good for the other stuff, you know. So this gneiss combination with the isogen in particular is very valuable. So we can see that's basically going to be through using a mining ship, which is going to be your first ship you're going to get for that is the Venture. It's got great bonuses for a frigate for mining. It's got better bonuses than anything other than a specialized mining ship, which is going to be, your first one is going to be a barge, which will be a coveter, a retriever, or a procurer. And the way those work is your coveter mines very fast, has a small ore hold, and has very few options for defense. The retriever mines slightly less fast, has a really good ore hold, can hold lots and lots of ore, so you can be out in the belt for longer, and has a semi-okay tank. And the procurer has a good tank, a medium-sized ore hold, and it mines kind of the worst out of the three. So those are your options there. And then you're going to, later on, you're going to Tech 2 ships, which are called exhumers, which are basically the same thing. So a Hulk is an upgraded coveter, a Machina is an upgraded retriever, and a skiff is an upgraded procurer. The other element to mining fleets is mining boosts. This character doesn't have a mining boosting ship, but that would be the porpoise, which is the, in my opinion, king of the subcap boosting ships. It's quite nimble and agile. It's kind of, you can keep it alive by running away a little bit, and it will still give you really good boosts. You've got the Orca. It's a bit rarer, especially in nullsec. It's quite common in highsec because they're a bit more of an effort to kill, but because you have to gank them against the police come and kill you while you're shooting them, so you have to do that quickly. But in nullsec, nobody comes to save anyone, and Orcas are big whales as they should be. So they're not used that much. And then finally, you've got the Rockquall, which is a capital level ship, which is very, very beefy. It can actually defend itself a little bit. It can tank a lot, and often people use Rockqualls with the benefit of having a capital ship defense team. You know, in Pandemic Horde, we've got capital ships that will sit around and wait to drop in and help people, and we've also got sub-capital ship commanders, FCs, ready to come and try and save things like Rockqualls. So they are a bit of a harder target to kill. Generally, we'll have one of these boosting most of our public mining fleets, just because it's very, very good boosts. It's the best boost you can get in the game. So you're going to go out and you're going to mine some ore. Now, the first thing to remember is that every region of space has different ore. You've got high-sec, low-sec, null-sec specific ores that only spawn in those areas, and they all drop specific minerals. They've split everything apart so that you have to get stuff from every part of the game. For example, tritanium, the mineral used in everything, pretty much, is not available in nullsec, but it's available massive quantities in highsec and also on we call them R4 moons, but in the low-end moon mining stuff, that'll drop you some tritanium. So generally what we'll do is we'll import one of these things in a compressed version, so compressed Valspar maybe, and then we'll refine it, and then we've got a load of Valspar, we've got a load of tritanium, so we can see there's quite a bit of tritanium on the market. Somebody's got stacks of 200 million units, which is plenty of tritanium there. We can also see pyrite, lots and lots of pyrite. Our market's pretty good for stuff like this. It does sometimes get really expensive, and you should always double check compared to Jita how expensive your minerals are. Look, oh look, I've got some stuff on the market there. Usually what I'll do is I'll import straight from Jita, and I'll try and land at very minimal profits, and usually that will be higher than this because these might be people who've mined gneiss in a wormhole and brought it back, and therefore they don't have the cost of importing it, because they just had it, like it was just mined and brought straight to MJ, so they can usually beat me, which is fine. That's just there for the day when somebody buys all of it and you need to get some in there quickly. I'm actually going to take my headset off because I'm not listening to anything and there are no sounds at the moment apart from my voice. So that's basically, you're going to go out and mine some more. You're going to use a mining barge, the Coveter. This is a lovely Coveter. It's got 2 mining lasers. Mine some more. It's got a little survey scanner. It's got some upgrades for mining and some upgrades for defense. Very simple. You can find that on the New Beans pings, which is how you found this fleet in the first place. And people comment about how handsome I am is fine, thank you. It's very distracting though. And those New Bean fleets are going to teach you everything you need to know about mining ore. The next thing I want to talk about is gas. So gas is used to make capital ships, and it's also used to make Tech 3 ships. So we've kind of jumped forwards because all of the stuff used to make Tech 2 ships is mined from moons. So it's just another version of an asteroid, and our mining fleets will take you around, and commonly they will mine the moons first. They will explain all of that process to you. Basically, you're just activating lasers on rocks and making the big rocks into smaller rocks inside your cargo hold. It's not very complicated. Let's have a look at this gas huffer quickly. It's pretty much the same thing as the mining barge. It's got 2 things to get in the resources. It's got some tank. This one's got a warp core stabilizer because it's a coward and it likes to run away. It's got a micro warp drive to go a bit faster and a survey scanner. Gas mining is something that you will scan down sites for. So in the Cavella Expanse in particular, but also in Peregrine Falls, but the Cavella Expanse spawns slightly more gas sites. They do spawn in nullsec. We've got the area that Pandemic Horde in particular controls has quite a low spawn rate of gas sites. There's a whole thing about gas sites. If you join the Gassy Beans SIG, you will get told loads of information about gas sites. The other place outside of nullsec to get the gas sites is lowsec. Often has lots of gas sites. In particular near oh no, my brain's gone completely. If someone wants to put it in chat, but there is a lowsec right near us, right after Alex Q2. There's a area around Pala. That's what I wanted to say. The area around Pala has loads of gas sites. There is a bit of competition from the lowsec guys there. They will try and hunt you, but you can go and scan down those sites and try and mine their gas and bring it back to MJ. And then the final thing is explorers will go into wormholes and they'll scan down gas sites, and they will ping into the Gassy Beans channel that they found a wormhole with lots of gas sites in. They'll also ping into that channel when they find a mining site with gneiss in it, because gneiss is so valuable that it's comparable to the best moon ore mining that we're doing in nullsec. So it's basically the top tier of mining is gneiss. So they'll ping fleets into Gassy Beans for that, and sometimes they'll even ping those danger fleets into the New Beans ping, so you will be able to go and mine some gneiss. You don't need anything special for gneiss, it's just a mining barge or a mining frigate. Okie doke, so that's gas. We talked about moon ore. The next thing we need to talk about is planetary interaction. So I think my planetary interaction is quite close. It is, and it's not cycled, which is perfect. So the way that I run planetary interaction is I just do extraction planets, which is kind of perfect for the new bros out there to explain. So this is an extraction planet. It lives just 1 jump away from MJ. So probably lots of people have stuff on this planet because it's so close to MJ. It's probably not the most efficient planet because of that, because planets do have a fixed respawn of materials. They will run out of materials. So basically you ideally want to be in a place that nobody else is. But in nullsec the respawn rate's quite high, so they actually support quite a lot of people extracting stuff from them. So what I'm doing here is I'm just moving the extractor heads onto the nice white hot zone, and it's going to improve my rate of extraction. You can actually see it does weird things, like having it over here is better than having it on the white hot bit in some ways, but we'll just put it here anyway. So start extraction, submit, and that is going to send materials through these. Well, actually what it does is it sends it to here, and then this checks here, and if these are not got anything happening, these are factories, if they're not got anything happening, the storage will send some stuff to there. So this is a buffer basically, and then these factories send the stuff back to the storage units, and we can send them to the rocket pad like so. We do an expedited transfer, and then we would go and we would pick up these things. I'm not going, do I run from all on stream? There's not really a reason to. I'm just going to quickly blitz it. I have mine all set up, you might notice, quite casually. So this is going for 3 days straight, which is quite a long time. If you want to do this really efficiently, the best ISK way to do it is a 1 day cycle. So you come in every single day, you'd extract. I'm also doing this as a 1 resource extraction. So I'm just pulling in one thing, it's just going into one factory and getting made. What you can do is you can set up a planet where you've got 2 of these extraction nodes pulling in different things, and then they make the first thing, which would be this. So they maybe make toxic metals, and then those toxic metals can be combined. So if we look, we can make construction blocks maybe. So what we need is we need toxic and reactive metals, which can you do on this planet? No, you can't. But can you do anything on this planet? Let's have a look. Nope. No. So you could then on one planet make a second tier product, which some people like better because that can run for a lot longer, because the higher you go up the tiers of the planetary interaction, it crushes things down. So the raw materials are very, very big. They come into here, they go into the factories, and they get crushed down one stage. If we were to make them into the second level, they get crushed down again, etc., etc. So by the 4th stage, you will get quite small items that are worth loads of ISK, because they've had loads of inputs put into them, and the time and effort involved in making them makes it go up. We're 26 minutes in, and we're just covering PI. That's fine. So where did I put the blueprints? Are they just sat in the ship? I think so. So what we'll do is we'll look at a blueprint quickly. So we already know, because we looked at Penny's Flying Circus, that this Gatling autocannon currently in MJ is overpriced. It's too expensive. So that might mean that we can make some profit in it. It might mean that. We're not sure. So we're going to use the blueprint, and we're going to try and make 1, which is the most inefficient way to do it. And we're just going to see. So if I buy all of these materials on the market, it's going to cost me 3,279. I need to select a facility. This is important. So far, no facility has been selected. So we're going to choose... Which one do we choose here? I think we just choose this one. I think this one is fine. Fuel component structures. I don't think we get a bonus here in particular. So we can see that it costs 133 ISK. So this item basically is going to be profitable regardless. So let's see how much it's going to be to make 200. So 200, if we buy all, is only 500,000 ISK, or 649,000, and the estimate is 1 million ISK. And we can see it takes a whole day. So this slot is going to take all day, and if we list it, and then if someone buys 200 of these, and now this item probably doesn't sell very much, I think. We can see every day it's selling like between 10 and 6 and 40. It's a bit random. Somebody bought 461 one day for some reason. But regardless, because I often just see things that need to meet the targets, we can see the target for this item is 200 items. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get ourselves set up. So we've bought some minerals, which are here now. We're going to put them in our hauler. And we're going to go over and we're going to start that job. And it's going to come out tomorrow. We can see that we've got some bonuses here. So the blueprint gives us 20% because it's fully research time efficiency. I've got skills and implants in, so I get 32% there. And then the roll bonus is 15%. And then the cost of this, the roll bonus gives us a cheaper cost. You've got a facility tax of 10%. And then the index is 5.2. So if we look here, this little red bar, this is the index for the system, for what we're doing. Will it not expand? Oh yeah, it will if you just wait a second. So it's actually saying, well, this one here is 3.1. You can see 2.1, and if we look at the actual cost, most of the cost is in the system cost index. Now this is not important for a small job like this. This is a very small job. We're going to make huge profit margin and not a massive amount of overall risk. But if you get into very, very large construction projects, like you're maybe building 100 fighters, which we have a blueprint of, so we can show you. Not in there though. That's owned by me. Let's go for copies. So if we were to make 50 Templars, and we were to make them in MJ, let's go for this one. Why is it not doing it? Can it just not make them there? Oh, it's because it's on a research job. There we go. We can see that that 5.2 is working out to, oh, it's just one. Let's do 50. That 5.2 is working out to 9 million ISK. Now, if we got a system with 2 point something, let's try this one. We can see we just cut a load of ISK out of our cost. So that goes from 10 million ISK to 6, and then when we get really down there, this guy's got 0. So this system just has no, like, it's not been making anything. The job index cost is 400,000. It's really, really cheap. But look at this. The days to make is 2 days 11 hours, and I think we can get that better. Maybe not. Maybe we just don't have one that works for this. Drones and fighters. So in theory, this guy should be the best, but he's not. So yeah, so actually, if we could be bothered, we would go over 2 jumps to OJT, use this retiree of the Levi guards, and we could make this way cheaper. We could make these much, much cheaper. The other thing to check is whether or not the efficiency is right, which I can't quite remember how to do that. Nope, not sure. Sometimes it will come up with your material efficiencies that you've got from the structure, but I think maybe you need to be in the structure for that one. I'm not sure. Oh no, it's here. So you've got structure roll bonus, 10% -1. Let's have a look at this one. 10% -1. So these are just generic bonuses that you get from every structure. So I don't think we're going to find one that actually does fighters in particular. I mean, this one says it does, but it doesn't actually do anything. Let's see about this one. Nope. Yeah, so all of these for Tech 1 fighters don't really do anything for it. Potentially for Tech 2 fighters it would. Fim, I don't know, man. I don't know what the volume thing is. Everyone else seems to be fine with it now. Seems to be working okay. So as you can see, you've got a few other differences, and this is where industry starts to get complex. You know, your high-end industrials will work out the maths on the system cost index. They'll work out the maths on how efficient it's going to be, and they'll work out the time, and they'll figure out the most efficient way for them to make things. Sometimes the time will be the deciding factor. They just want things done quickly, and some structures will really, really reduce this. And sometimes it's the ISK. So there is a lot to think about with that. For your starting items, you want to be starting out with items that are just completely wrecked. Like items that just completely don't add up on the market tab. And also you need to check that they've got a good volume moving. When you start out, being tied into items is the worst thing that can happen. These are a good item actually, 400mm crystalline plates. I think they're a good item to sell. So you want to find some of these items that make sense. Some of these are going to be import only items. I believe the restrained you can't make it, and the compact they have to be imported. But there's many things on the market that are red that you can make. If you want to make tiny profits, you could make some shield charges. They're overpriced right now. There are there's 1,086,198 of them on the market though, so there's a lot on the market, and they honestly don't cost that much to make, so I don't know if you could make a profit there. And if that guy just reduces his price with his 1,000,000 units, you're just never going to sell them. let's see if I can just find anything else very quickly that you can make. You need to be able to make it for this stream to work. There's a lot of Tech 2 items here. We're going to talk about Tech 2 items in a second. In particular, we're going to look at harpies, because I've got some harpy blueprints and I don't know whether they're profitable, so I'm going to figure it out. There you go. Hornet EC 30s, 300s. These are another very small item. There's loads on the market, but they're double as expensive as they should be, so you could probably make a few of those and sell them quickly. These are all just things to test out. Big things for new players with industry is being part of an industry corporation. If you're in an industry corporation, they will basically cover the cost of your blueprints for you, because their blueprint original stockpile will be there and you can use them. There is also a service in the industry and seeding channel where you can request blueprints from a blueprint library and someone will send you blueprint copies, I think for free. I think they're free. So that's really, really useful. So you've got all of these options. I had a little look earlier. So sigils are overpriced in MJ. So let's have a look at sigils. Oh, my knees hurting. So sigil is 5 million-esque, and sigils move. Now the problem with sigils and why they're this expensive is you have to know a little bit about the items. So a sigil's volume when it's packaged is 20,000 M3. Now that's quite big if you don't know sizes. If we look at I haven't got a basic hauler, but a T1 hauler, if you max equip it for size, is going to just about hit 20,000 M3. So you're going to be shuttling sigils one by one from the construction place to MJ's market if you're a new bro. Now if you're an experienced player with a lot of skill points and money, then you can have this bad boy, the potato. So this is a freighter, if we just close everything down, and these things are chunky. So this guy's got, he's not fit for size, and he's got 372,000 M3. I don't know if he's even got things. It's got bulkheads, just full tank. Doesn't really need it. It goes tether to tether, but he's ready for a fight. And oh, some stuff there. You just find random stuff when you're in industry characters. There's stuff everywhere. Where did my this one? Oh, yeah, there you go. So we'll actually take him and we'll do this with him. So let's use our sigil again. Sorry, we got a bit distracted. So we're going to make the sigil too. So we're going to make him in the small, medium and large structures. We actually have enough materials there already to do this, but we're going to buy all on this because we want to know exactly how much it costs. So the job cost is about 740,000 ISK, and the materials for 10 of these is 30 million ISK. So we should just basically say it's 31 million ISK is the rounding up way to do it. So if we go 31 million divided by 10, it's 3.1 million ISK to make a sigil for me today, and it's 5.1 to sell. So I'm probably going to sell these sigils at 20%. So let's figure out 20%. So we'll divide this by 0.8. And does that work? Yeah. So that's the price we would sell them at. There's a little bit of quick maths for you, but this would be my sell price, and that makes me 20% profit, which a little bit of that's going to go to the market fees. But generally my 30 million ISK 14 hours later is going to be 38 million ISK, which in my book is a win. So you know, once you've Vexa ratted a few ticks, you've maybe done 45 minutes of that, you should have 30 million ISK. Maybe you've got one industry slot, and you could make some sigils if you can find a sigil blueprint. And then you're on your way. But you need a big ship to move them, so you probably don't pick sigils. Probably you pick something smaller. The final kind of Tech 1 area to talk about is the rig market and rigs. What do we want? We want this one. So when we undock from MJ, we just have a quick look. Always have a look. Ideally, if you can put a bookmark where you want to land, you always do that. You're looking for bubbles. You don't want a bubble on this line, because if there's a bubble in the way, you're going to land in it in your big shiny expensive obelisk or whatever this is, and you are probably going to get dropped on and killed, and that's obviously not good. We don't want that. We want to keep our industry players alive as long as possible. So we're going to dock him up in here. Freighters can thankfully dock in every structure, but some capital ships cannot. Ooh, we wanted to look at rigs, didn't we? So I know there was a few rigs that were a bit bad, a bit messed up on the market. But quickly, just before we do that, let's pop all this in here. Oh god, too many things. We'll start that job because we decided it was good, and once we actually got here we realized it was less time and cheaper, which I don't know why the thing did that, but we're going to take it. That's fine, and we'll make 200 of them. Also takes a little bit less time. So let's try and find out about the rigs. So salvage comes in, whoa, where do I want to go? I want to go here and here. So MJ's got a decent salvage market because these are all me. All these big ones are me, and it's just importing and listing at like 10% above Jita because salvage is tiny. Like if we look at the size of this thing, it's 0.01 M3. So the cost to import this is negligible because it's 400 ISK per 1 M3. So I would need to import 1,000 of these to get 1 M3, or 100. 100 of these. 100 of these, which would be like 5,000 ISK worth of, no, it'd be more. It'd be 50,000 ISK, and then I'm paying 400 ISK. So like, it's only less than 1%, I think. Hope this makes it to the tube, lad. Mad info here. You're gonna have to teach me how to put it on the bloody tube because I don't know. So you're gonna want to, sorry, salvage. So you've got Tech 1 salvage. This gets imported because salvaging in drone sites essentially is bad. Like you just don't get any salvage from them apart from sentience, which they give you blue salvage, and you'll notice the blue salvage situation is a little bit different. And if you compare this to Jita, this is pretty much at the sell value in Jita. So it's one of the rare things on our market where we produce way too much of it, and that's a good thing. So making Tech 2 rigs, there shouldn't be a rig that's Tech 2 in MJ that's overpriced, in my opinion, because all of the things you need to build it are super cheap, and there's lots of them available on the market. So let's go and find ourselves a rig. So a Thrasher fit. I like Thrashers, as everyone should. Let's look at industry, view an industry for this core defense shield extender. This isn't only used in Thrashers, this is literally used in every small ship that's got a shield on it. There probably someone's got a rig, an extender rig in half of the fits. It's really, really common. So we want to just make one. We're just doing this for a bit of an example. And again, we're just going to do it in this generic place that's not specifically for rigs, I don't think. And we're going to have a look. So if I was to buy all, you can do a special thing here. So look at this. So I'm in a station with no market. I just changed the station to MJ and it tells me. So it's 128,000 ISK to buy that. And then let's have a look. Just off the top of my head, I know that that's profitable. Obviously, there's a big amount of these in the market already. But look how many can sell. You can sell like 200 a day. So there's only maybe 300 there. And then this person's a bit overpriced. Maybe they've imported them from Jita, which costs a little bit more. Rigs are very small. So rigs are 5. And then they scale up size-wise. Very small scale. So a medium rig is a lot more expensive than a small rig. Let's see if we can find rigs. Is this going to work? No, that doesn't really work. Anyway, that one. What am I doing here? No, let's do this. So a medium rig is 10, and I think a large rig is 20. And large rigs are vastly more expensive than smalls. Like, it's not 4 times more expensive is what we need to know. And then capitals, I think, are 100, which is ridiculous because some of the capital rigs, like I sold a capital rig the other day for 1.9 for 800 mil. I think, is it here? I don't really want to show you exactly who's been buying what, but yeah, that's a mind link. But yeah, so importing rigs is super easy to do, is what I'm trying to say. So there is a bit of a competition between the importers and the creators, but even this very common rig that sells out everywhere, that should be just completely flooding the market, this should be basically at build cost, is not at build cost, and we can still make profit on it. Now this blueprint, we won't be able to buy it here. Let's see if anyone's selling one. I mean, even a fully researched one, if we were to just buy it in Jita, is still only 21 million ISK. Now I'm pretty sure that Blueprint Original for this is somewhere in the region of 500,000 ISK, so it's really cheap. So you could go and get your own, and obviously, like I said before, try and get yourselves into an indie corporation. I can guarantee you they'll have rigs like this available to you, and you'll be able to get yourself sorted out. So let's just quickly go up. So the same thing is way more expensive for a medium version, and let's look at it in industry. So I'm also doing these without any 10% off for the ME. So you know the material efficiency is not reduced, and still it's profitable. So we know, so it was 793, and then we're going to buy all. Oh, we're going to click the buy all tab, which doesn't seem to want to jump in front. And then we're going to go to this, and we can see that these are much closer, 669. So we're starting to get into the region where maybe it's worth it for a bigger industry player to make these. And again, these are really used in lots of ships. So 984, which just seems like a ridiculous amount of rigs. If every ship was using all of their rigs just for medium core shield extenders, that would be somewhere in the region of 330 ships. So it's a lot of ships. But MJ does move a lot of ships daily. And let's go to large. Core defense shield extenders. They are still selling relatively okay. There's a few every day. There's a smaller competition. And we look at the attributes. They are 20 M3. I was right about that. That's good. So they're small still, is what we're trying to say there for importing. One with no efficiency. We'll buy all. Am I just stacking my buy alls? I might be. That might have been the problem. To MJ, 3.4 million is to buy it all. How much is it on the market? So right now, it's not worth it to make this rig. People are selling it for less, and maybe there was really cheap salvage at some point, and they've done that. And then let's go all the way up to a capital rig. Ooh. Now, interestingly, with a capital rig, you can see that all we really need is Industry 5 and Shield Rigging 1 because it's a level 1 rig. So they're really easy skill-wise to make these rigs. This whole process of rigs are always advised as like one of the starting options for new players. So we can see it's 19 million ISK to make this. And let's just close the buy all and try again. Actually, let's put facility down as well because that changed things a little bit. So I'm showing my noviceness in industry, and it is 19 million ISK to make it. So these rigs, these core extender rigs, are actually very well priced. There is a little bit of wiggle room in the small, but the mediums maybe not. If we look at, there were some rigs that I recently purchased, and I purchased them for a reason because these were overpriced. Or I thought they were overpriced, so I was going to maybe look into making them. So let's look into this. This is a rig that's used for dreadnought guns on Naglfars. So we'll look at the market for it. There's none. So that's quite overpriced because anything I put that up for will be the lowest price. That's one way to think about it. And then if we make this, it's going to only cost us 7 million ISK to make. So we could maybe put that up for 10. That would probably be a reasonable price if there's no competition. It's like a 30% increase. And we can see it only takes an hour to make them. I don't think we'd make many of these because Naglfar pilots wanting Tech 1 rigs might not be the most in desired thing in the game. And we can also look, and there is one Tech 2 up here for the market, and we can have a look at the industry for Tech 2. We can see that that is way overpriced. It was 350 million. Just going to close that and start again. So it's 350 million, and let's change our station again. 159. So if I researched my blueprint, I made some copies and researched them, which we'll talk about just now, then I would be able to make that. So final thing we're going to talk about is Tech 2 and how to make Tech 2 things. The simplest things is the modules, but we're just going to talk about ships because that's what everyone fixates on. And you know, there is some demand for Tech 2 ships, but you'll be competed against because they're a bigger item. You know, big industrial guys, they don't care too much about the profit margins. They just want to get billions of ISK churned into the market. You know, if they can make 5% on their 10 billion ISK, and they can do that with just a few clicks, they're going to choose that over being able to make 20%, but having to set up maybe 50 different construction projects and all of that. So they'll often focus on the hulls and really try and min-max right down on the hulls. And then the modules and things like that, sometimes they get left a little bit by the wayside, and you can kind of sneak in there as a smaller producer, as a new producer, and you can make some stuff out of it. So we've got a Condor blueprint here. It's maximum ME and it's maximum efficiency, but that doesn't actually help us at all in the invention process. So now we're going to try and invent our blueprint into a Tech 2. We like Raptors. I had a really good run in a Raptor yesterday. It was good fun. So we're going to have a look at Raptors. So this is just the basics of invention. So we're going to need 2 of these data cores and 2 of these, and then we don't need a decryptor. So decryptors are a way to make the dice roll more towards the direction you want, because as we can see, it says 40% success rate. So that means that 4 out of 10 attempts are going to result in a Raptor blueprint, which means that realistically, if we want a Raptor blueprint, we're going to have to run this job a few times. So maybe if we were to run it 10 times, we would get 4 of these blueprints. Now we can see that this blueprint gives us 10 construction jobs. So we're not getting 1 Raptor, we're getting 10 Raptors out of this. So that's the first thing to think. And this is with the basic setup. We can alter this, so we can do an accelerant blueprint, and what does that change? It changes the percentage chance a little bit. So it gives us a 20% bonus to that, and we can see that it makes it, I believe, time efficiency is improved. You can hover over these and it will tell you. So attainment is used when you've got a very long research project. So Tech 2 capital ships, you might want to get more chance of it working because of the cost involved in doing it. If we change our tab here, you can see all of the different kinds of industry you can do. If we change it to invention, MJ has invention. It's quite a high industry index because obviously everyone's just using it there. But MJ's invention, that makes our time go down massively. So you need to use an installed rig invention place if you want anywhere reasonable invention times. It's really important. And then skills and implants help, and then the structure roll bonus helps. So that's really reduced it. And we can see that, let's just take this off. No optional item. It doesn't change anything to do with our success. So our success is all to do with these choices here. These cost money. So this is not a free option, whereas the cost of data cores is quite cheap. So it's 1.9 million and 1.7 million to buy the data cores. And then if we add in 10 accelerant decryptors, if the game will let me, we can see that the accelerant decryptors alone are 5 million ISK, so it's more than double in the price, and all we're getting is 20% bonus, so we're not getting double the bonus, and also importantly, we're not getting double the blueprints, you know. So we really care about that. And then when we get to the larger construction projects, we really care about the material efficiency. If you can spend, so that the most you're going to spend is an optimized augmentation, I think, and they're relatively expensive. Let's have a look. So they're 5 million ISK each. They're really expensive, so 50 million ISK. So don't do this with Raptors because you're spending way more money than you should ever do. But if you were doing this with capital ships, 5 million ISK to try and invent a capital ship BPC better and to get better material efficiency where it saves you 1%. Well, 1% of a 25 billion ISK run is a lot more than 5%. So that's what you need to do the maths on there. So it gets really complicated with Tech 2. But anyway, so let's just say we have invented this. We've invented the lovely Tech 2 blueprint for the Raptor. Now we get into the crazy Tech 2 production. So we'd need to build every single one of these, and these are all made with Tech 2 components from Moongoo and reactions. We'd need to mine some morphite and create that. We'd need to do some planetary interaction and make some construction blocks. And we'd also need to get some items. So RAM Starship of Tech, you make that out of minerals, and you also make the Condor out of minerals. And then it's just got a normal build time, just like anything else, and you just pick the right place to build it. So you could choose MJ. Not that expensive to build it, really. We can look at the buy all here. I don't know if we'll actually be able to buy all of this in MJ. Yeah, so we can't. A lot of these things here, people will make themselves, and they don't sell them on the market because they're using them in their projects, and it's just more efficient that way. So that we call it vertical production, where you do everything from the bottom up. And that costs 20 million ISK, 792, but that's not including the things we're missing. And then if we look at the market for Raptors, they're at 19 million. So something's not right here. And what's not right is that these things here, to buy these things, is not a normal thing that you do. You make these things yourselves, and that reduces the price down. So Tech 2 producers will use websites, usually websites. Sometimes they use their own blueprint, Excel sheets and things that they've figured it all out, and they'll work out how much it costs to build these. So if we go into it, we can see it uses ceramic fibers and titanium carbide. These are both products that you create through reactions, and this is the reactions that you would need to do. So you would need to make titanium chromide and silicon diobite, and basically you refine the moon ore, it goes into evaporates like this, and you use an oxygen fuel block. These you can actually buy on the market for relatively okay prices, but you can also make them yourselves. And then you can see that there's another reaction we have to do. So we've got another one, and we've got to this, and then we have to use them in a construction project to build this. So what you can do is these to buy on the market, and especially if you go onto the Discord industry seeding channel, you can buy these at Jita Buy, which is an okay price. That will work, and that is how you do this. I personally don't get involved in Tech 2 production because you need to pay attention to it, because you're putting a lot of ISK into it, and you need to make sure that you do get this all mapped out correctly. But that's the basics of Tech 2. I'm not going to go into too much detail about Tech 2, but basically you invent a blueprint copy, you use the blueprint copy in conjunction with the reaction products and all of the other bits and bobs for a Tech 2 ship. Websites you can use for that. Let's go and get those up. It's like blacksmiths or something. Eve Blacksmith. This could be a risky search. The Lazy Blacksmith. Oh, it's got a legal thing now. Cool. But you basically put in your blueprint. So Raptor. There we go. I would like to manufacture Raptors, and it should tell me roughly what it is. So our ME level was 4, I think. Don't really care about the TE level. I just want to see. And it was 10 runs per job. 10. And then these are the blueprints we would need to make all of the bits. So it talks to you about those. Material summaries. Talks to you about those as well. Prices. So we can see here, if we make 10 Raptors in the optimum way, or maybe it's not the optimum, maybe it's just the way we've put it. we can see that the cost of that is 173 million. So the unit cost is 19.2 and the sell price is 20.9. So there is a bit of a margin for Raptors. 17 million ISK we're going to make, which is about 8%. And that's not untypical in a well-competed Tech 2 market. There is profit to be made, but it's small and you need to do everything perfectly right to make it. But as you can see, we've invested 173 million and we're coming away with a little bit more. We're coming away with somewhere near 200 million ISK. And the time to do that is, you know, about a day or two. And whether or not the Raptors sell is your next problem. But basically, once you're getting into the billions of ISK, some of these 8% start to look a bit more promising. And when you understand a market like MJ's well, and in particular our doctrines, when we use them, whether doctrines are going to stick around, things like that, that's when you really start to churn the money. If you can make, so for example, Sleipners, I personally think Sleipners are going to stay around. They seem to be quite a solid doctrine. They seem to allow us to do things as an alliance that we want to do. So making Sleipners is going to be somewhere where you can sell things. A lot of people agree with that, and Sleipners are very well produced in MJ. Can I spell Sleipner? That's the next question. So I say very well produced. That's a lot, to be honest, to be listed. This is obviously a crazy price that this person's put them up for. I don't know what that's about, but there's 61 there for 288, and people will be sitting on Sleipners in their hangars ready to sell them once these go. And also there are obviously Sleipners on the contract market fully fitted with the Alliance fit. So if we go to current station and availability Alliance, what have I done here? Oh, it's because we're not in it. We're not in the Keepstar. Here we go. So fully fitted, you can buy a Sleipner, and there's tons and tons and tons. There's 140 contracts it's found. So we could buy, you know, we could lose 200 Sleipners right now, which would be an entire fleet plus some, because I think the support wing of a fleet that's not Sleipners is probably a lot. So we could literally lose a whole fleet of Sleipners, and we'd still have enough Sleipners to just reship straight away. So Sleipners are well supplied, and there's probably people who have them in their hangars as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything extra to talk about. So we've talked about minerals and mining. We've talked about gas mining. We've not talked about ice mining. So ice is basically a different asteroid. It's an asteroid made out of water. Ice belts only spawn in certain places, which you can tell through Dotland quite easily. Ooh. So let's look at Peregrine Falls. Ice is all of these blue circles. So every single blue circle's got ice, an ice belt even. And you can fully mine out an ice belt and it respawns after a few hours. I don't know the exact timings on that, but it does respawn. Ice is used to make fuel, pretty much exclusively different kinds of fuel, and it's used in siege modules for capital ships. Fuel is used in Tech 2 production, and it's used to fuel star bases, and it's used to jump ships around with the jump drives. So it's used in a lot of different things. You might not ever use fuel if you were a Tech 1 only person, but the reality of EVE nowadays is most people are Tech 2 and they're using, in some way, they're buying fuel off someone, whether they buy a Tech 2 ship that's been made with fuel or they live in a structure that needs fuel, you know, they're contributing. So ice mining is always in demand. There's always going to be a relatively good profit value to ice mining because it's a continually used consumable. Unless everyone just put all their structures down and lived in systems and never ever did anything bigger, which is just not going to happen. So we've done ice, we've done planetary interaction, the basics of it. It's extraction is the core element to it. Find a guide, slowly read through it. The big thing with planetary interaction is it takes ages to set up. It feels like years and it feels like you're clicking forever. And then a lot of people will try and do it where they click every day and they reset every day and they'll just completely get sick to the gills with planetary interaction. But the trick with it really is to find a planetary interaction setup that suits you and suits your lifestyle. So for me, I do 3-day shifts, so I'll do 3 night shifts maybe, and so that's why mine is free, because I can start it at the start of my first shift. Usually what I'll do is when I start a run of shifts, I will wake up, have breakfast, go through all the planetary interactions, start them all, and then that's done, and I just go to work. And then in 3 days time, I typically don't gain much when I'm at work, or try not to, because I work 12-hour shifts. And then I'll come back at the end of it, wake up on the first day off, be very sleepy because I've done night shifts or whatever, and look at all my planetary interaction and start them again, and obviously go and collect everything that's been made in the 3 days. And I've made, you know, I've got 2 accounts that do that, so 6 characters, and you know, usually it pulls in 200-300 million ISK for 3 days, so that's not anything to be sniffed at really. That's probably the least efficient way to do it. People do things like they do a level 4 factory planet, where they would either create themselves or buy the level 3 products and they turn it into level 4, and then that level 4 stuff, it's similar to the Tech 2, where they may be investing 7-8 billion ISK into that process, but maybe they're going to make 20%. So, you know, if they're doing 10 billion ISK, they might make 10 to 20%, which would be 1 billion ISK, which if they can do that every few weeks, then they can maybe plex their account just on 3 planets of PI. I think the best I've heard of is someone making something like 1.5 billion a month with 1 account's worth of PI, which is essentially a very high-end, very specific factory planet setup, where he's tailoring it to the things that are really in demand and making those, and you maximizing the profits and really paying attention to things. My setup is 2 characters, 6 planets. They're all P1 extraction, and I think typically each month I make 1 billion ISK using 2 accounts on PI, which obviously is less than half of a plex. But 1 billion ISK could be, for me, you know, it could be 2 or 3 Sleipnirs, and I get SIP for my Sleipnirs anyway. But you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. It takes a little bit of the edge off, and all I'm doing is every few days clicking on a few planets and just kind of chilling out, sipping coffees and stuff. We've talked about Tech 2, we've talked about moons. We have a moon schedule you can access. It's on the same website as the seeding stuff. If you have a horde character, you can look at it. I'm not going to click on it because obviously we're streaming, but you know, you can see the moon schedule, you can see some buybacks for the moon ore, and you can see the market seeding lists. Really, really useful website. No, so I said the best I've heard for PI is somebody making about 1.5 billion ISK with 1 account on 3 characters doing factory stuff, and that's about half of a plex, which plex nowadays is about, for 500 plex is about 2.5 bill, and that's complete paper maths, might be wrong, it's around about that. So we've looked at a few of the industry ships you can use. This potat's probably going to stay here until those ships are ready tomorrow. We've talked about a few of the SIGs you can join in Horde, and also the benefits of finding an industry corporation. We've also talked about Horde's generalized service for blueprints, which you can find in the industry seeding channel. If you don't know where the industry seeding channel lives, then you should ask in the Newbeans channel, and they will tell you how to get to that. We've talked a little bit about Tech 1 production. One thing I will say with Tech 1 production is, for things like hulls, like Caracal hulls is a good example. There's a cruiser that we use somewhat a lot. Big producers will just min-max that right down. And as a new guy coming in, a very popular Tech 1 things are going to be really, really hard to get into. You need to find those fringe items. Rigs are, I think, a very good example and often get ignored by the bigger producers. And the smaller modules that are just used just as throwaway things for people on their tackle ships. You might be able to churn a little bit of a profit there. Going through the market, let's have a talk about quickly the market. So the market you'll have this browse tab, and that's everything on the market. But what you can do is you can set yourself a quick bar up. So we can make a new custom folder. We'll name it Industry Primer. Ooh. And then what we would do is, if we go to the sigil, we can right click it, add to market quick bar, and then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go up here, and then we're going to just view on market. Oh, well, we have to delete this. So if you've got anything in the search bar, it won't flick to it. Watch this. If we do view on market, flick straight to it, add to taskbar, view on market. I know these are just right next to each other, but I'm just doing it anyway, just to show. Add to market, view details, add to market, view the details, add to the market, view the details, add to the market, view the details, and add him to the market. And now what we're going to do is we're going to select all of this, put it into industry primer. We're going to export the quick bar, copy to clipboard, and we're going to open up our Jita alt. Which character's got a Jita alt? Is this one? Let's see if this one does. How many hook bills can I make in a day? Lots. I could make a lot of hook bills in a day. Hook bills are annoying because hook bills are a blueprint that you get one run of. So you need to sit there and start 10 jobs, and then 15 minutes later you come back, or however long it takes, and then you start 10 more jobs, etc, etc, etc. But I have, I think, 4 characters who all have 10 manufacturing slots, so I could make 40 hook bills in a time, you know. I think someone listed hook bills and someone bought 9 of them in egg, like once, just bought 9 hook bills off him. So it was kind of like we went small, we went too small on the seeding. So what we're talking about though is markets. So this is a Jita character. This character lives in Jita, and you can see he's got the same stuff. But what we're going to do is we're going to import the quick bar. We're going to replace everything that we just had, and now, as if by magic, we have the same, and we can compare. So we've got the sigil in MJ, and then the sigil in, so this is the sigil in MJ, and then this is the sigil in Jita. We can maybe look at Isogen, so 617 there, 654, so it's slightly more expensive in MJ. This is a very quick way to double check maths on things. Your websites, so your websites like, oh, I think I took it down, the blacksmith one. There we go. Like this. Who doesn't like it? What about this? Yeah. This is going to give you the Jita prices, but obviously you might have trouble conveying that to MJ, so having that set up. I have this on dual screen, and what I'm going to quickly show you is the difference in some common items, and we're just going to very quickly touch on importing. So we can see in MJ right now, Amarian data cores are 119,000 ISK, and in Jita they're 86,000 ISK. Now, just off the top of my head, that's more than 20%, and these are very small items. So these are 0.1 M3. So this costs me not a lot. Like, it's going to be 40 ISK to move because it's 400 ISK per M3, and it's so 40 to, yeah, so 40 ISK to move, which is going to take this to 86,830. And then if we look at MJ, we could sell that at 115 and make a profit. That's the very basics of moving stuff. It's just understanding how big your item is, how much collateral it's going to cost on the shipping service, and then you can work out whether or not that is a profitable item to move. Setting yourself up to lists like this is super useful. What we'll show you as well is, this is Evola, which is one of our couriers. So we're going from Jita to MJ, and we're going to just copy and paste. You can copy and paste whole things, so like you could do this, and it will grab the number as well. We can see it's pretty cheap to move 0 point condensate around, so it's worth 43 mil, and it costs us basically 1% plus a little bit more to move that. That's not what we want to know about. We want to know about this. So we're going to copy and paste. I'm just Control-C'ing, and then we're going to do 1,000, and it costs me 900,000 ISK. So I'm going to list these at maybe 115 million ISK. Probably I'll take a little bit of a bonk from taxes, so maybe that'll go down to 110 million ISK, 109 million ISK, somewhere around there. But then I'm still coming away with 14 million ISK. And what have I done? I've done nothing, basically. I've clicked buy in Jita, and then I've done this, made the contract, and clicked sell in MJ. Now, I'm not going to tell you more about that because that's all you need to know. And all of these tabs here are all of the things that I sell, and there is a lot. And that is enough to, if I wanted to pay for all 4 of my accounts. Currently, I'm saving up to buy some of those career-ending ships that you get stuck in, and you know, you just finish Eve. Does anyone have any questions before I close the stream down? I suppose, apart from how many hook bills can I make in a day, because I think a lot. Let's have a look at hook bills. Oh, so I'm just going to get the one from contracts because that's the actual ME and stuff. I think it's 00, yeah. So if we were making hook bills in MJ TAC, we could make, if we no-lifed it, if we came back every 31 minutes and put a new hook bill in, God, let's figure this out. So 24 times by 60, that gives us how many minutes are in a day. And then we're going to divide that by 31. We could make 46 hook bills per slot. And then we have 11 slots where we're using 2. So we've got 9 slots. So times that by, well, 46 times by, oh gosh, I fucked that up. 46 times by 9. We could make 414 hook bills in a day if I was to not sleep and put one in every 30 minutes. Maybe I should stagger it and put one in, like, if it's 9, maybe put one in like every 3 minutes, and then constantly have to be every 3 minutes changing hook bills around and putting a new one in. That'd be a very depressing stream as you watch me slowly go mad over 24 hours. Follow the stream is the last few things to say. So follow the stream because I don't stream very often, so getting a notification about when I do stream is really useful if you want to see things like this, more content like this. If you want to, obviously you can subscribe to the stream as well. You can subscribe with the Amazon stuff. It's not a very regular stream. It's not very often that I'll stream, so it's your decision. And if you really want and you just want to help something that I like, you can donate to the London Ambulance Service Air Ambulance. I'm a big fan of the charity. I work with them in my professional life and they do great things and really make a difference on people's worst days. I am going to be on the Pandemic Horde Mumble for a little bit, answering questions. That can be questions about anything. We'll just open it up completely to New Bean Initiative as the topic, but specifically industry today. Obviously, if you want to talk about that, or if you want any advice on how to get blueprints, or maybe some of the stuff I've talked about with regards to the Discords and the Mumbles and how to get through to the different channels and the different buying channels and things like that, that might be a good thing for us to talk about on Mumble. I will see you all there. I'm going to ping the server again with the Mumble to join. Thanks very much for coming, and oh, actually, let's find someone to follow, to stream into. Who's doing what? Zapando's on. I like Zapando. Is there anyone who's doing something interesting? There's a guy who's titanium mining. Maybe that would be appropriate. Mining to fund Plex. I think we're just going to go to Zapando's because he's doing public Drekavac fleets in Pochven, which is kind of a cool idea. So let's do that. So we're just going to raid Zapando. Oh, there we go. Oh. Oh, look at all the direct messages. Guys, I know I'm hot. Like it's alright. I live that reality every day. You don't need to keep telling me.